Hi, this is Warlow from Business Loan Services and welcome to my Friday Business Finance Bulletin, my weekly roundup of news, tips, ideas and strategies on raising finance and dealing with banks. So what am I looking at this week? Well, to be honest with you, it's a little bit of a late payment and cash flow fest. A lot of news out there this week on the impact that cash flow has on small business owners. So let's move on with it. Now, I mentioned in last week's video that whenever I'm speaking to business owners, whether one-to-one or in the various seminars that we run, they say that late payment and cash flow tends to be one of the biggest problems they face. And this has been borne out by a survey I saw this week from the Asset-Based Finance Association. They were asked small business owners, on average, how long does it take for you to receive payment after invoices have been issued? And the answer came back, we wait 71 days. That's a massive period, especially though when compared to in 2006 when the same organisation did this survey, the number of days that the business owners waited was 64 days. So there's been like a 7-day deterioration. But here's the main thing. Bigger businesses say they only wait on average 48 days. So there's a massive gap between the 48 days and the 71 days the small business owners have to wait for. And it just shows the leverage and the buying power that the bigger businesses have. Another survey that came out by BACS, the company that oversees the direct debit and payment system. Now, they found out that there's a massive £46 billion worth of money sat out there in overdue payments. They say that's a huge wall of money sat behind a dam. And of that, £39 billion is down to small businesses. So you can just see how much pressure there is building up. And 60% of businesses said they do suffer from cash flow problems. So how are they managing this? Well, I'm sure like you, 25% of them are saying they have to manage this by paying their own suppliers late. And 21% of them are saying, well, they have to rely on banks for overdraft facilities. Now, I've talked previously, banks are not that keen on giving overdraft facilities. So you've got to make sure that you've got your systems and processes in place so you don't get caught out by late payment. And in fact, in that BACS survey, of those businesses who said they don't suffer from late payment, 71% of them put it down to the fact that they have a structured, systematized process in place for issuing invoices and chasing up. So just make sure you've got systems and processes in place. Looking further at cash flow, another interesting survey came out by LDF, which is a specialist finance provider, and they reckon that businesses owe HMRC about £2.6 billion in overdue VAT. Now, VAT is a great short-term cash flow plug. If you're unlucky enough perhaps to be VAT registered. But many businesses do use it as a cash flow gap. Money comes straight in and then it goes straight back out in paying suppliers. But people forget it's not your money. Now that 2.6 billion is actually an increase of 100 million on the same time last year. So it just shows that VAT continues to be a problem. My tip there, I've mentioned previously, you just got to be disciplined. You've got to open a number 2 bank account, and every time an invoice comes in, take that 20% away and put it to one side because it's not your money. Easier said than done, I know, but it's all down to discipline to make sure that you don't get caught out by HMRC putting undue pressure on you to settle those overdue VAT bills. So, what about a tip of the week? Well, this week I've actually got a clip around late payment issued by a guy called Steve White, who is my go-to man where late payments are concerned. So in this clip, Steve from Thornbury Collections is just going to give us an overview of some of the excuses that people use as to why they shouldn't pay you. And after the clip, I've got 2 other bits of news to share with you very briefly. So I'll see you the other side of this clip.
This is an interesting one. My accountant's on holiday, so I can't sign the cheque for you. Not sure how that works really, but someone we've heard. I've lost the invoice. Yeah, I'm sure we've all heard that one. And this last one I put in deliberately because that is an actual real excuse. And the funny thing is, it's one of my invoices. And I know the lady who owed me the money, and we're very good friends. And that's an absolutely 100% true excuse. The rabbit has eaten the bank dongle and now the bank dongle doesn't work and I can't pay you. Right, so what is the most single common reason given by your customers for paying late? So waiting for payment. It's actually decreased slightly this year, but it's still the top answer. Waiting for payment authorization. fairly prevalent in the bigger companies, but if you're dealing with smaller companies, you might want to take that with a pinch of salt. Their terms take precedent. It's an interesting one. Anyone come across that? You clearly have. For example, Tesco's, other great supermarkets are available, have a policy like that. So their terms and conditions rule. And it says in the terms and conditions, our terms and conditions are the best. We rule, we take precedent over everything. And that's just the way it is. If you want to deal with Tesco's, you deal with it on their terms. A copy invoice is required. Well, that's fairly standard, because that happens sometimes. I can't afford to pay. That's interesting. And the interesting thing is it's gone down slightly this year as well, from 7 to 5%. Lots of talk about the recession might be over, or the credit crunch might be over. Certainly, that would bear well with that. I forgot to pay. That happens. We all forget things, especially me. The invoice is disputed. That's an interesting one because that's quite a common excuse that we hear all the time. But actually, it's only 4%, which is quite low. So if you're constantly hearing that on the phone, you need to think to yourself, this is something not quite right here. And I think as well, invoice disputed can mean a couple of things. There are genuine disputes in invoices, clearly. But after chasing for 3 months, and then they say, actually, I don't think we need to pay this. It's clearly not right. A sales process or an internal process within your company, the checks in the post, there's our old favourite, again down to 1%. A couple of reasons for that, and we've all heard it many times before possibly, and also the phasing out of checks, whether that comes or not, but people aren't paying by cheque anymore. If you can get your customers to pay by BACS or PayPal or card now, it's instant, much better than a cheque, because as we all know, there's one or two horror stories in the room, I should imagine, with cheques.
So let's hope you don't get caught up with some of those excuses that Steve listed there. I'm sure you've heard them in time. So at the end of the day, it is down to making sure, so you've got those systems and processes in place, make sure you don't get put upon by the bigger businesses. 2 other quick bits of news. A new revamped and relaunched site that the government has got out there called greatbusiness.gov.uk. It's kind of just a general one-stop advice shop. Say some bits on raising finance there. So just have a look at that site, see if there's anything there of interest to you. And in the crowdfunding peer-to-peer lending market, a company called ratesetter.com. Now you may not have heard of RateSetter before. I've not mentioned it too often because it's mainly focused on giving loans to individuals. But they've recently been in receipt of £10 million from the government via the British Business Bank to on-lend to individuals. So again, another sign of the importance and the credibility that the alternative lending market has in government's eyes. So if you're looking for a personal loan for cars or a holiday or general home improvement, check out ratesetter.com, a great little site. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed those tips and those clips. As ever, if you did like the video, say please like it and share it amongst your colleagues and on social media. So that's it. I look forward to being with you again next Friday and have a great and profitable week. Till then, bye-bye now.